You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next, the April 23rd meeting of the LaPorte County Planning Commission. You can get more information for this meeting by going to www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to call to order our regularly scheduled Plan Commission meeting for April 23rd, 2024, 6 p.m. starting at about 6:10 p.m. Thank you all for your patience here this evening. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Joe Haney.
Present.
Harold Parker.
Present.
Eric Poynton.
Present.
John Carr.
Here.
Deb Vance. Here. Tony Hendricks.
Here.
John Watson.
Here.
Earl Cunningham.
Present.
Rita Beatty.
Zoom.
She's on Zoom. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next, we're going to consider the approval of the agenda. Do we have any additions?
Joe, I'd like to make an amendment to the agenda to add the request for a solar moratorium.
Second that.
I have a request to add a consideration of a solar moratorium. Any other requests or additions? Addition of any public comment period or anything else? All right, hearing none. We call for the. So we have a member on Zoom. We'll have to do a roll call vote.
Joe Haney.
Aye.
John Carr.
Nay.
Harold Parker.
Aye.
Earl Cunningham. John Watson.
Nay.
Tony Hendricks.
Nay.
Deb Vance.
Nay.
Earl. wait a minute. Rita Beatty. I can't hear you. Eric Poynton.
Yes.
The vote fails.
All right, thank you. In which case, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as it was originally presented.
So moved.
I second it.
A motion and a second. Discussion. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Joe Haney.
Aye.
John Carr.
Aye.
Harold Parker.
Nay.
Earl Cunningham.
Aye.
John Watson.
Aye.
Tony Hendricks.
Aye.
Deb Vance.
Aye.
Eric Poynton.
Nay.
Rita Beatty.
You're looking for a microphone.
Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
One for yes, two for no.
She's here in spirit.
Yeah, it's enough for a yes.
It's enough for approval. All right. So the agenda is approved as originally presented. Next, we'll move on to approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second that.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any discussion? All right. Roll call, please.
Joe Haney.
Aye.
John Carr.
Aye.
Harold Parker.
Aye.
Earl Cunningham.
Aye.
John Watson.
Aye.
Tony Hendricks.
Aye.
Deb Vance.
Aye.
Eric Poynton.
Aye.
Rita Beatty. I think she said aye.
Very good. That's a majority, and that approval of minutes passes. All right. Next, we move on to petitions. Our first petition here this evening is Jason Atwood and Kristen Atwood, represented by Counsel Anthony Novak, respectfully petitioning the Plan Commission to rezone from a B2 to an R1B, property located across from 1902 North Whispering Crossing, LaPorte, Indiana. Exhibits attached here unto. Mr. Attorney, is notice sufficient?
Notice is adequate.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Anthony Novak. I'm an attorney with Newby, Lewis, Kaminsky & Jones here in LaPorte.
My office address is 916 Lincoln Way, LaPorte, Indiana, 46350. Here tonight on behalf of petitioners Jason and Krista Atwood. I know Jason's here. Is anyone else? Just you? Just Jason is here. Tonight we're asking for property on North Whisper Crossing to be rezoned from B2 to R1B, a type of down zoning, a less intensive use. I'll be real brief. We filed this contemporaneously or simultaneously with a petition for development standards that was heard in front of the BZA last week and ultimately approved, seeking to build a single-family residence on a 17-acre piece of property with less than the adequate road frontage under the JZO. So in short, you'll see the property attached as Exhibit A of what we're talking about here. It's approximately 17 acres. It's accessed through the Whisper Crossing or Whisper Isle subdivision. And historically, my understanding is that this was going to be Phase 2 of the subdivision. Phase 1 was developed, numerous homes, all zoned R1B. Phase 2 never came to pass, and my client purchased the property in June of last year. There were some deed restrictions on the property, basically indicating that although Zone B2, the use of the property should be R1B. Mr. Atwood and his wife want to build one single-family home on the entire 17 acres, no plans to subdivide it or anything like that, so that the use of the property would be more consistent with its zoning. In talking with Mitch Bishop and talking with Mike Poland, the suggestion was that we both ask for a rezone and a variance. We were successful in the variance, and we ultimately asked that we would get a favorable recommendation from you all that the classification should be rezoned from B2 to R1B, very similar to all the classifications you would see on Exhibit A. So that is our request, plain and simple.
Thank you. It looks like here, what was emailed over today, that all, or if not all, nearly all of the adjacent landowners signed off saying no objections. Is that, I didn't count all the adjoining properties, but it looks like that's what I've got here, correct?
I got about 5 or 6. I show highlighted all the people we noticed with arrows pointing to who was actually approved, and I have copies of that here.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
this piece of property, Charles Hendrickson Associates Engineering Surveying, this was done by John Spear with my father many, many years ago. And this, yes, Mr. Novak is right. This is Phase 2. It was approved through a long time ago Plan Commission. I believe it was an errant B2 rezoning. It should always been an R1B. It was a approved, Plan Commission approved subdivision with a single road and a cul-de-sac and multiple lots. So even though I agree that we should continue through this motion and make it official, in my opinion, this should never have been a B2. It should have been an R1B. It's a Plan Commission approved subdivision. It's grandfathered in. If they had built the road, they could have developed these lots, but it sounds like they're not going to. So just for the Commission's knowledge that this was Phase 2 of an approved subdivision in LaPorte County and is still grandfathered in to this day, in my opinion.
Thank you so much.
I have a conflict of interest. I sent my client over to Anthony to handle this, so I can't comment on this.
Certainly. Are there any remonstrators here for this particular petition this evening? I don't see any in the audience. Anyone online? Don't see anyone online.
So, Tony, what would you say in there?
I would make a motion to approve this, even though I think it's a Scribner's error in the rezoning and the classification we did in 2011, that this should be R1B and the Plan Commission should approve this going forward. So my motion to is approve it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, roll call, please.
Joe Haney,
Aye.
John Carr,
Aye.
Harold Parker,
Aye.
Earl Cunningham,
Aye.
John Watson,
Aye.
Tony Hendricks,
Aye.
Deb Vance,
Aye.
Eric Poynton,
Aye.
Rita Beatty.
That ain't the middle finger, is it?
Motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Old business, I do have one item under old business. There was a attempted mediation with D&M here this past week regarding the ongoing legal conflicts that we're having. I was sat in on that for about 8 hours, maybe going on 9 hours. Ultimately, it was not fruitful, so we weren't able to come to anything. So it's going to revert back to the courts. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Doug, or if there's any questions from the Plan Commission
as you
here.
know, our involvement is the appeal of the Plan Commission's decision. It's a separate case, but I think they're going to the LaPorte County will ask that this case, the Plan Commission case, be combined with the other case. So, I think it's likely the court will grant it. It's really it's not good or bad for the Plan Commission appeal. Right now, we have a motion to dismiss and a motion to strike on file on our end. Yeah.
Very good. Anybody have any questions on that? All right, very good. Was there any other old business? All right, hearing none, we will move on to 7.1, solar ordinance amendment. And we'll open that up to the board here for any comments, questions, suggestions, motions.
If I may, Mr. President, my goal to have a draft, a rewrite, basically, on our solar ordinance for next month. That's what I'm going to shoot for.
All right, very good.
President,
Yes, Mr.
at our
Kraft.
last meeting, we put together a committee of 4. Has that committee met?
Yes, we've met a couple of times.
Excellent. Thank you.
I would think here this evening just to give some clarification that we could just maybe consider one or two things as far as perhaps a motion to change the verbiage for the bond to be every 5 years in perpetuity of the project. Because right now it goes 5, 10, 15 years. I know there's a little bit of talk about how that plays in with the state verbiage, but whichever that would play out would have ultimate authority. I don't see why we couldn't do that here this evening if anybody on the board was amenable to that.
If I may, Mr. President, any amendment to any ordinance, there's a procedure we have to follow. There's notice we have to give. Okay, but you can't vote yet because we've got to get notice to the community, and we have to have a public hearing on the ordinance, not what's going on with the solar.
Right.
So we typically will get all of our amendments. I mean, you can instruct me to draft that, but we can't adopt an amendment tonight, okay? And then we typically, when we're done, then we do the adoption of the ordinance because I have notice and publication procedures that we have to follow.
All right, I apologize for my clumsiness in the language, but perhaps better set a motion of support for change for a couple of these items that perhaps we discussed earlier, be it screening or bond, things along those lines. And the floor is open to anyone here on the commission who has any suggestions to make.
Looking for Doug's advice here, but I think the Plan Commission can vote to instruct Doug to move into some amendments to the ordinance in which he can do public notification and follow the IC code. So if we are contested in any way, this Plan Commission has something that Doug can support.
Yeah, the commission can certainly give me direction on what it wants me to draft, but that's about as far as we can go tonight.
All right, very good. I would ask
So ask him what items you want.
yes, so tightening up the bond for decommissioning, pretty much almost everything that Mr. Bishop sent over to us, I think, is pretty solid. So incorporate those things in there, like performance bond for maintaining the screening, some screening issues, as well as some of the noise abatement issues and distances that are listed there. I think Mr. Bishop's pretty much. I don't want to speak solely for, and please, those members of the Solar Committee, please feel free to speak up. But I think that encompasses quite a bit of what we talked about on the Solar Committee. And obviously, I'm open to any additional suggestions or direction here. But those are some pretty solid guidelines I think we can incorporate in to really get some extra guardrails around this and make it more whatever we can more amenable, regardless of how the Board of Commissioners moves forward, that we get screening so folks, are looking out at nice landscaping as opposed to fields of panels.
I'll make a motion to instruct the Plan Commission attorney to review the amendments as laid out in the email by County Planner Mitch Bishop for recommendations based on email received from PC Steering Committee, and refer back to the Plan Commission for our review.
Excellent. Very good. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
So where are we at then when we do all this? Tony?
We recommend to have our Plan Commission attorney review the rules and bring it back to us to potentially have a public hearing, move this into the commissioners for their public hearing, and adopt a change in the joint zoning ordinance by IC statute 36 we have to adhere to that whole statute. Or if we are brought into a court, we would probably lose. We have to.
Oh, that losing's always a probable cause, but it's,
I just don't want to see the taxpayers pay money to lose. If we do it by the rules, I think.
well, there's plenty of taxpayers going to pay anyway out of
Yeah,
this deal. You don't hide behind that mysterious
If we
thing.
do by the rules, I think we can win.
We're offering a lot we don't know about yet. So does this pass the state law as being the state law is ours, or is it in addition to ours?
That's what Doug's going to bring back to us next.
So do we have that set now, or is this still so if they bring in a petition to the BCA before this thing is passed, we go by our old rules?
Yes.
The old rules and the state law, both, because they're both in effect.
So the state law is in effect now?
Right, and if we have rules that are stricter than the state law will apply.
Okay.
Right, but it doesn't change the standards of review for the BZA, okay? All the requirements on setbacks, et cetera, that all has to comply, and I'll have all that checked before it goes in front of the board, okay? When it goes in front of the BZA, they're just looking at under the statutory factors of a special exception.
So
Okay?
can they do that in one review? Is that a one shot, or has it got to be all public commented and everything too?
No, everybody will have an opportunity to remonstrate at the BZA hearing. I'm guessing it'll be a long night.
Well, there's people out here asking for answers, where they're...
Yeah, so,
buck
in
stops.
other words, when they file the petition, I'm going to go through it, make sure whatever the technical stuff is, that it complies either with our ordinance or the state law, okay? If the state law is more lenient, that's going to apply, because that's what the state law says, okay? That's on the technical requirements, but and everything's going to be presented at the BZA, but the BZA doesn't review that part of it, okay? I'm making sure that it's complying with the law before it gets to them. So when they're hearing it, they're going to look at the statutory factors for special exception, okay? And for those interested, that's on them online. It's in their zoning code. They're all listed out. That's what the BZA is going to base their decision on.
Because we had a lot of people talk about economic problems with the thing devaluing their properties tonight, so I want to make, and that would be in front of the BCA then?
The BZA can make, the BZA can grant and create exceptions, okay? And if you're curious on how that works, you can look at the BEST facility that was passed, was it last year, I think? In that BEST facility, we've never seen one before. Now the law has changed and it handles it, but at the time there's no law on it at all. So the way we handled it was we had a special exception, and then we had a whole list, there's like a dozen of them, of requirements that the BZA created to make sure the BEST facility would comply, and all those requirements were public's concerns, okay? We don't have to do that anymore, but the BZA can do that if you want an example of what we did before, okay? That make sense?
Yeah, about that much.
Mr. Hendricks,
That's right.
I was good till you got all the lawyer stuff and all the numbers.
Well, okay, we'd never seen a battery facility. There was a concern about firefighting, okay? So we made them pay to train our volunteer fire departments where the facility is going to be located. There's a concern about engineering and review because Mike is not a battery engineer. So we made them hire an engineer to inspect that we picked, okay? And I can't remember what there was like a dozen requirements. And so the BZA required all those things in its approval. And it has the power to do that.
As bad as the solar is, that stuff over in South Bend was a bad example of putting one together, so
Yeah.
I don't want to have these people have anything like that.
Yeah. And it may take more than one meeting, and I know it took us, I want to say 4 months to get the battery approval to where I think everybody was pretty much comfortable. Not everybody agreed with it, of course, but the concerns that the BZA heard, I worked with opposing counsel to address those. So when we went back, we'd address the concerns that we could address, okay? I kind of foresee the same thing going on here. Usually a zoning petition is a one-time shot, but there's a lot to discuss here, and there's a lot to tackle here.
Now, we did have a thing on the computer, didn't we, an email or something that they can go to a web page or something on this stuff? Is that still in force then?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ongoing development?
Yeah, but I want to emphasize to the public, go on and look at what we did for the battery facility, okay? Because we had a lot of concerns, and I think we alleviated them, and I kind of intend to do the same thing here because the law is changing very quickly, as you can see. And so I want to make sure we got concerns covered, okay? I'm not advocating either side. I'm trying to do it the right way, okay?
When's the BCA normally meet? Is that a week during the day or?
Second Tuesday every month. There's no petition filed yet. Oh, third?
Third Tuesday.
I don't know where I am. I don't know what day of the week it is.
Third Tuesday, 6, right here in this room.
Yeah, but there's no petition filed yet. So it will not be in May. I'm guessing June.
Well, they still have time to file for May.
Oh, do they?
Yes.
Okay, then I'll shut up.
Mr. Hendricks,
That's our job.
Mr. Hendricks, would you be amenable to adding an amendment to your motion that we notify the BZA? Hopefully that would allow them to delay a month so that we can catch up with them. I mean, let's say that somebody filed tomorrow, which they can do. If we at least notify them that we're going back and reviewing, maybe they buy a month saying we're going to wait for the Plan Commission.
With due respect, that's not going to work. It's runs from the time the petition is filed. Okay? But, so we've got an ordinance in place now, and we've got the state law in place now. So if anything, I'm guessing after I get through the state law, our ordinance may be a little lighter, but by the time we get...
You're satisfied then that if the BZA passed it the third Tuesday of next month, we would still be all right?
Yeah, and I'd be surprised if they passed it. I think we got to work on what exceptions and requirements they're going to have, in addition to just the basic grant.
All right. You are the attorney for the BZA as well.
Yeah.
So you've been instructed by it. You will be instructed by our commission. Obviously, you'll know that when you go to the BZA meeting.
Yeah, and we have a member of both here,
Thank
too.
you.
Very good. Got a motion on the floor. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. Roll call, please.
Joe Haney.
Aye.
John Carr.
Aye.
Harold Parker.
Aye.
Earl Cunningham.
Aye.
John Watson.
Aye.
Tony Hendricks.
Aye.
Deb Vance.
Aye.
Eric Poynton.
I never received the email, so I'm going to recuse myself from the vote.
Okay. Rita
Sorry.
Beatty.
So what is
It's still enough for a pass.
She's stuck in the car.
All right, thank you. We'll make sure another email goes out and everybody gets a copy. Yes, thank you. All right, next we have, under new business, we have a resolution of the LaPorte County Plan Commission approving a resolution of the LaPorte County Redevelopment Commission approving amendments to the declaratory resolution of the Economic Development Plan for the I-94 U.S. Route 421 Economic Development Area for the purpose of establishing a new allocation area and related matters. That was Resolution 2024-002. Mr. Reardon, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Plan Commission members. What you have before you is an order of the Plan Commission approving a previously approved amendment to a declaratory resolution of the economic development area. Just for reference, it's 421 and 94 allocation area. So it's right there at the gateway of Michigan City. There's an investor that's coming in that's going to spend targeted $29 million on 2 different projects that are zoned for the use. We are creating what's called a separate allocation area, which is a financial mechanism to allow partnership between the government and the private entity. This developer would then purchase the bonds, which are about $3.5 million. The purchase of the bonds and the proceeds are for water, sewer, sanitary for the development. It's a good project, very looked on very favorably by the Redevelopment Commission. This is stop number 2 on the pathway. This goes back to the council once the finance mechanism starts. And germane to this body, this activity and growth is within the recommended planning and master plan. So if there's any questions about this project, please let me know.
There's no overlap with Michigan City TIF district in this?
No, sir, there is not.
Thank you.
No, this is actually our TIF area. Yeah. You remember that?
Yep.
Yeah, well, this is in fact that parcel, 400 West. Yeah, we're all squared away with that.
Thank you.
I think the city declined to pay the $5 million of outstanding debt in order to be able to grab this into the city, so we got that all squared away with them.
Any other questions from the board?
A lot of technical stuff.
Sure. All right, we'll entertain a motion to approve or deny this.
I'll make that a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Joe Haney,
Aye.
John Carr,
Aye.
Harold Parker,
Aye.
Earl Cunningham,
Aye.
John Watson,
Aye.
Tony Hendricks,
Aye.
Deb Vance,
Aye.
Eric Poynton,
Aye.
Rita Beatty.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Reardon. That is the end of new business. Is there anything else?
Doesn't show much, does it?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn
Second.
and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you, everyone. Have a good night.